Hey YouTube, Jose here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and happy New Year's Eve. Today we're going to be looking at the Ursiiday Pocket Weekly number 9. And firstly, we're going to be looking at the spicy decks right here, because there is a lot of them. And then we're going to be shifting over to looking at the data. We're going to be looking at Week 8 versus Week 9. What decks fell off? And we're going to be looking at Week 9 as a whole. What are the top performers? Everything that entered versus what top 32. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we can see, Mewtwo won the tournament. That is unfortunate because Mewtwo players are kind of annoying to play against. Nonetheless, though, it is the new Mewtwo variants that doesn't run the 2 Sabrinas. It opted to run the 2 Mythical Slabs, so it probably dropped 1 Sabrina. It looks like it only runs 1 Leaf and 1 X speed for the pivot ability, and it's got the red card. So really cool deck. I want to try this one out with the 1 Jinx. I think you still need 1 Prizer to kind of make your trade favorable. Maybe you can sacrifice 1 Ralts, 1 Jinx, and then 1 Mewtwo for the endgame. Force your opponent to take 4 while still doing respectable damage. Could be an interesting game plan, but that's the one that won. Another interesting kind of development in the Mewtwo space is that people are running blue, and this is for the mirror match so that it could survive a Psyshock or the big 150 move from another Mewtwo. So that's interesting there. And then Pikachu Zebstrika, doing really well here, guys, in the top 4. Gyarados Granger making top 4. But then we have this really first spicy deck of the day, ladies and gentlemen. We have this Exeggutor Celebi Mew deck. And really what this deck really does is it uses the new basic Pokemon from Mythical Island and their power, right? Because you can sit with an Exeggutor up front, heal it all you want while you build up Celebi, because this only requires 1 energy. And depending on your matchup, you can build up a Mew EX with genome hacking to take out opposing Mews, opposing Charizards, etc. And because of that, it did really well. This deck is going to be really worth trying. I'm going to check it out on the channel and try and post it here in this video. It might take a while because firstly, ladies and gentlemen, I actually already made a video on this Aerodactyl Primape deck, which is really, really fun and good. I think I got 9th place here. And essentially what you want to do with this deck is kind of go up front with Mankey. This new Mankey is so good. If you hit the heads, you're knocking basic Pokemon out. It's hilarious. And if you got the Primeape there, you just start punching things, right? And you're only consuming 1 energy. All while in the background, you're building up your Marshadow and your Aerodactyl, depending on what the game plan is. Now, I found that I'm not building up Aerodactyl if I'm facing an opponent that can one-shot me, like a Gyarados or Mewtwo, because then my Aerodactyl is going to get one-shot and I'm going to lose because they already took a Primeape. So in that regard, I usually power up a Marshadow or 2, and that can be enough to win you the game sometimes too, but Aerodactyl has its place. So this is the deck here, guys. It's a lot of fun. You can check out the video I made. It's going to be linked in a card and in the description and in a playlist. That's the 9th place Holland meter. Now Celebi actually did make top 32 this time with the superior, but it only this one is running 2 Snivvies and running 1 of the Execute 1 Exeggutor. So nothing too special about that list there. Aerodactyl EX, and we have Aerodactyl EX with Mew, which is interesting. So I have 1 Marshadow, 1 Mew EX, 1 him only, 2 Tauros, 2 Aerodactyl. It's actually an interesting deck. As you can see, people are starting to make these toolbox decks where you have a lot of utility with the Marshadow and kind of being a one price Pokemon doing 100 for 2 energy. You can really set that up really nicely. And there's a lot of different fighting toolbox decks that are coming up here, which is really cool. So moving down, there was an Aerodactyl Farfetch'd deck that made top 32 as well. I was originally going to try this one because I like the idea. Essentially, you have the 40 damage, and then you have 2 Geos, right? So if you hit a Mewtwo for 40, they're at 110. You knock out your Farfetch'd, you come up with Marshadow, and you revenge with the Geo for 110 and knock out the Mewtwo clean. So I like the math here that's going on against Mewtwo, and just the chip that Farfetch'd provides for 1 energy is really cool. So I like that deck a lot as well. And then, guys, we had to talk about this Mewtwo Alakazam deck. Look at this. I'm a huge Alakazam enjoyer. They found a way to make the Turbo Alakazam, right? Because I actually built a deck that had Alakazam with 2 Druddigons, 1 Sigilyph, and I was like, it needs more firepower, it needs a second attacker. Why didn't I think of Mewtwo EX? Like, this is so smart. You throw 1 Mewtwo EX in there. It's your secondary attacker. It's going to be hard to power up both, but the way that the Druddigon stalls and the speed of Mythical Slab, maybe you can find all your pieces and power up quickly and have enough time to power up both. So really cool deck, and it worked out. So it's living proof that you can power up both. Top 32, right? So that's pretty much it for the spicy decks, ladies and gentlemen. That's really all I wanted to go over here. I do want to highlight this Pidgeot deck because I actually do want to build and play a Pidgeot deck. And this is the fighting toolbox that I was talking about, ladies and gentlemen. When you can throw a Marshadow, when you can throw a Hitmonlee in your deck with some colorless or anything else that kind of, utilizes colorless, you have your really good options, right? You can hit the bench and swing really hard after your Pokemon gets knocked out. The Pidgeot EX here, really cool. I want to try this one out with the fighting toolbox. It should be a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make a quick shout out and just say thank you so much for the subscriptions. We blew past the 1,600 goal. I'm wondering if we can get to 1,700 subscribers. That would be awesome. Guys, can we get 40 likes on the video? That would be really cool too. Our last video hit 40 likes with the meta shift. Let's see if this one can do it as well. I just want to take the time to thank everyone who supported the channel. Guys, don't forget to like down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment down below what was your favorite spicy deck of this meta shift. All right, YouTube. That is it for the spicy decks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the data analysis of Week 8 Ursiiday Pocket Weekly number 8 versus Pocket Weekly number 9. And we can see here that Gyarados, right, made 8% of usage up to 13 because it saw, a really strong top 32 in Week 8. People are like, all right, let's use this thing. Mewtwo saw a decline because, the first week it was getting hard countered by Scolipede and didn't do that well in top 32. So a lot of people used it a little bit, they used it less. And so it declined 11%. It only made 13% of the metagame, but we're going to see that it actually performed really well. Scolipede Weezing had a huge decline. Has a really bad matchup into Gyarados. And, a lot of other things can play around it. I think Pikachu can play around it pretty well. It had a huge decline of 7% here. And then we have Pikachu. This is what I was talking about. It had a really high increase across, both of them. 2 or 3% increase, and then like a 4% increase here with Pikachu Zipstrike and Pikachu Raichu week over week. Golem increased 5% week over week essentially. Celebi had a 5% decline, and everything else had a little bit of gain or loss. So kind of what I predicted in that kind of fighting decks are gonna move up. Aerodactyl saw, and a lot of other fighting cards saw increase due to Pikachu. So essentially what's happening here is Pikachu's being played more to counter Gyarados. Mewtwo was being played less because there was so much Gyarados in the meta. But now there's not enough Scolipede countering Mewtwo, so Mewtwo can have its good matchups against Pikachu, which increased. So that's kind of funny. And then we can see that as we go down to Week 9 here at top performers. Now we're looking at just Week 9, which is the most recent week. And we're looking at the full share of the metagame and then versus top 32 and how they performed. So Gyarados was 13% of the metagame and then 9% of top 32, which I believe is about... Let's take a look. About 3 decks. Yes, let me have this on the side here just so I can tell it to you guys. Mewtwo was 13% of the metagame, but then made up 21% of the top 32, guys. That's 7 decks made it to top 32 with Mewtwo. And like I said, with the rise of Pikachu, which Mewtwo has a good matchup into, gave a lot more free-ish / more positive games to Mewtwo. Then we have Pikachu's Zipstrike, which made up 8% of the full share, but 18% of the top 32, so 9%, increase for the top 32 there, which is awesome. That means it had 6 decks in the top 32. Pikachu Raichu actually fell off, so you had 7% of the full share, but then down to 3% of the top 32. There was only one Pikachu Raichu deck, and guys, I try the Pikachu Raichu deck, and I don't really like it that much. Sometimes if what you draw into is like an early game Lieutenant Surge Raichu, you lose all your energy and your opponent can really retaliate. So I actually find Pikachu Raichu be only good when you draw into the Lieutenant Surge combo late, or when you can still put energy on the board afterwards and still be in a good place. But it's very hard to play. Druddigon kind of fell off. It didn't really make the top 32 here. And I think just a lot of people were shifting over to a different kind of fighting deck that was a little faster, because Golem's deck speed, it could be its crux. Everything else is kind of basic here, guys. Celebi had a small boost this time. It actually made top 32, and it had 2 Exeggutor Celebi and 2 Celebi Superior in the top 32. So good for Celebi. I'm pretty happy for them. The Exeggutor variant actually went from 2% of the full usage to 6% of top 32. So that means something. Charizard, Moltres, and Arcanine Moltres didn't make the top 32, unfortunately, but a fire deck did, and that was Ninetales Rapidash. Made a 0.88% of the full share, but one of them got into top 32. And we're actually going to look at that deck right now because we didn't actually look into it. These are the other decks I talked about. Didn't make up like anything of the share, but one of each of them got into top 32. So really good for them, guys. Let's take a look at that Ninetales Rapidash deck really quick. Oops. Oh, going to win. Let's go to standings. And did I look at that Ninetales Rapidash deck? No, I did not. So they use one of each Rapidash. 2 of the new Ponytas instead of the old Ponyta. And pretty standard though. I thought maybe they'd use another new fire Pokemon or something, but no, they're keeping it standard with the Rapidash line and the Vulpix line. Only new things is they're just including one Rapidash and the 2 new Ponytas. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the video. I hope you all have a fantastic New Year's Eve and go on to the New Year's with all your goals and plans being achieved. You guys all have a great day, and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.